Max?
Yeah.
What do you make of that statement?
I think that's exactly right. The Eagles are 2-2 in a division where no one's going to run away with it. They're the best team in the division. They're the Super Bowl champs, but they have a little Super Bowl hangover right now. Of course, it's natural, human nature. You take things for granted. What the Patriots are doing is unprecedented in the history of modern football. Almost no other team can sustain that level of excellence. No other team. And he's trying to fight against that. He said, I'm not panicking, but we need more urgency. Now, Stephen A., what I've seen on the lines, the line play has been substandard. Jason Peters isn't right, obviously, the hamstring. Lane Johnson gave up a sack to a rookie who'd never had a sack before. But the defensive line is more troubling because they're supposed to be great. That's a strength of the team. Fletcher Cox is the man. Derek Barnett has been pretty good.
And Graham.
No, Graham has, I got to tell you something. He was hurt in the offseason. And he has not rounded back into form. And,
I'm just talking about
the talent.
The talent
He's
as
one
the
of the
season progresses because he comes on strong.
You would think, but I got to tell you, it's funny that you bring that up. That's my question. I'm wondering whether he's going to. He has looked bad. So one of the strengths of the team is now something that is not a strength. And I think Coach there is saying, we got to have some urgency here.
I'm not worried about Graham. I think that he'll come on strong, particularly when you have the Rough Riders that he has on the defensive side of the ball with him. That's number one. Number two, I look at the Eagles right now. Be careful. Over these next 6 games, it's tough. The Giants are not a gimme in East Rutherford because it's a divisional rivalry. We know that. You got a road game at New Orleans coming down the pike. You got to worry about that as well. I look at them and I look at a team like Minnesota. I don't underestimate Minnesota. You know why? Because the team that got embarrassed by Buffalo did show up and play against the Rams, okay? So if you showed up and played against the Rams, and particularly when you're going to, it's a rematch of the NFC Championship game when you got ramrodded by the Philadelphia Eagles, if the Vikings can put up some points, the Eagles might have some, they might be in a little bit of trouble. I think that Doug Peterson is right on the money. You can't take anything for granted. And more importantly, here's the real problem with it. There is no excuse for the coach to have to say that to a Super Bowl champion because you knew what it took to acquire it, that championship, and more importantly, you know that now you're the hunted. Everybody, when I interviewed the players after the Super Bowl, they were sitting up there saying, yo, man, we got to be ready for next season. Super Bowl just ended. You know why? Because we're the hunted now. They understood that. They understood what comes with this, but they haven't played like that. They gave away that game against Tennessee. I watched it from start to finish Sunday. They gave away that game against Tennessee.
They were the better team. They should have won that game.
They should have won that game. And to me, when you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're losing games like that, that reminds me of old times. That doesn't remind me of the team that went 11-2 with Carson Wentz as his starting quarterback last season.
I think we got to keep in mind, though, it's just the second game for Carson Wentz. Alshon Jeffrey, that was his first game back. They didn't have Darren Sproles. Jay Ajayi's also been banged up. So that's all going to make a difference.
Well, for me personally, I'm not looking at the offense because I understand that. My issue was you had a lead. You were going up against Tennessee.
The defense lost that game for them. I 100% agree with you.
How about this? We all knew. We thought Wentz would be back week 5. Something like that, right? If they could be 2-2 when Wentz gets back, they'll be all right. That's what they are. And Wentz has one game under his belt already. They're going to be all right.